Hi, my name is Isabel. I'm a Nifty producer, and I'm going to show you how you could upgrade your fireplace. This project was really fun. I worked with Ned Fulmer from the Try Guys and his wife Ariel for this to transform their fireplace into a style that they like to call California rustic. We have to remember that every single fireplace is different. This one happened to be a brick fireplace, so the steps are going to be a little bit different, but you could still apply some of the things that you learned from this video onto your own fireplace. First thing you want to do for painting brick is you have to clean it off. So this brick was destroyed. You can't really tell too much in the video, but it was covered in a bunch of gunk, a lot of glue residue that was left on some plaster, and a lot of the brick was actually broken, so there were chunks of brick missing from the fireplace. We went ahead and used some wire brushes to start cleaning it out. That would help rip off any excess pieces of paint that were left on or glue, and then for the tougher spots, we used a putty knife to go ahead and go at it. That was actually a really fun part of the video. Once you've gotten all the excess gunk off, go ahead and wipe it down because it could still be really dusty and there could still be a little bit of residue that you didn't catch. Obviously, we're not going to be able to take everything off. There's going to be a little bit of stain here and there, but that's normal. That's what paint is for. Ned and Ariel wanted to paint their fireplace white, and that is what we went ahead and did. For this, you want to use latex paint because it'll expand and contract with the heat. Another type of paint, once the brick heats up, it'll go ahead and crack through the paint. So you don't really want that. You also do not want to paint the inside of the fireplace unless you want like a little explosion to happen inside of there. So make sure you only paint the exterior of the fireplace, not the fireplace. Is it a paint? The inside of the fireplace. Don't paint that part. The next part was the toughest part of the video, and it was creating the fireplace mantle. Now, they really wanted a nice box style mantle. I went ahead and took measurements about 2 weeks out before we shot this video, and I started to do calculation. And I was freaked out the day that we got there that like it just was not gonna work. But it did. But anyway, so to start on your mantle, you wanna go ahead and measure the length, the width, and the height of the mantle that you currently have in place. To get the wood prepared, you go ahead and sand it. I actually hand sanded this thing for about 5 hours before we brought the wood in, but it turned out really nicely because it was super soft and smooth and ready for a nice paint job. Then we went ahead and connected the sides of the box using a nail gun. This is a nice and easy tool to use. It's also a lot of fun, and you just kind of punch it in one by one. This is a lot easier than using screwdrivers, and it also looks a lot nicer because the nails in the nail gun are a lot smaller, but they're still very powerful and you can use a lot more, and they're not visible once you go ahead and paint it. So the next thing you do is stain your mantle. We went ahead and used sawhorses to go ahead and stack our little mantle box on top of. When you stain something, typically the stain bleeds more in some parts than others. We use sawhorses to stick the mantle box on top of so we could paint it and keep an eye on all the sides. To stain them, we use these little sponges, and this created a nice and even finish. After this, you want to apply a sealant if your stain doesn't already come with one inside of it. We used heavy duty construction adhesive on top of the mantle to go ahead and stick the mantle on top of the current mantle that is in place, and you just press it down and make sure it's fitted right. You have a little bit of time to play with this to make sure that it is perfectly centered. After the adhesive was done drying, we went ahead and used a nail gun to secure it even more, and we just nailed onto the top of the mantle, and the fireplace was finished. You could use this DIY to upgrade your fireplace in any way you want. Maybe you could take a few tips from it. It's always really great when you could DIY like a really big project in your home, because now Ned and Ariel have this wonderful memory of putting together this fireplace together and making it exactly how they wanted to make it. They're really happy with it, which I guess is the most important part. I heard that it's their favorite piece of their new home.